This week, state lawmakers will take up Texas paper license plate problem. It's an issue our investigators have been following for years. The Senate Criminal Justice Committee will hold a hearing on how illegal tags intersect with human trafficking, drugs, and murder. The House Transportation Committee, meanwhile, will study the effectiveness of a recent law meant to curb paper tag fraud. This, as our series of investigations are now being used as part of law enforcement training. As investigator Matt Grant reports, agencies from across the state are trying to stay a step ahead of this $200 million booming black market.
Why don't you go ahead and take a look at this video from KXAN. Thank you, Matt.
Our investigations into Texas's risky rides.
Very, very good coverage right there.
Used to educate law enforcement officers.
You see the one I'm going after?
Casual.
It wasn't until the news media actually went ahead and started reporting on this that we went ahead and got some traction on this.
About the scope of the state's paper license plate problem.
I used that to show the class the magnitude of this problem. And then that is extremely helpful to us, your report that you did.
KXAN getting exclusive access inside an 8-hour buyer's tag boot camp.
Look at it. This one's tough.
Sergeant Jose Escribano with the Travis County Constable's Office is one of the leading experts in the state.
If it was a legitimate buyer's tag, that's what it would look like.
On this day, he's training several law enforcement agencies at the Lakeway Police Department about how temporary tags are counterfeited and the countermeasures hidden in tags to tell what's real and what's fake in this ballooning $200 million black market. This is a counterfeit paper tag that was recently confiscated here in Travis County, and there are a number of red flags if you know what to watch for.
The letter will be right before the last. Always.
Some subtle.
The geometric layout, the font.
Others,
it's creative.
Like this one, confiscated in New York City, not so much.
Believe it or not, he bought that.
Escribano calls the tag problem the #1 safety issue for law enforcement, allowing criminals to hide in plain sight. He says they're often linked to burglaries and violent crimes, like the killing of 2 law enforcement officers in Texas. Tom Donaldson is a patrol officer with the Wymore Police Department. He drove 2 hours to be here, saying he hasn't seen anything like this in his over 30-year career.
I didn't know the extent of it. No, I didn't. Didn't have a clue.
So this was eye-opening?
It was very much eye-opening.
Every time I go into a class like today, they are unaware of the tag, the magnitude of the tag problem, or what to look for. They're not trained for that.
In recent years, criminals have infiltrated the Texas DMV system by posing as car dealers to print and sell real temporary tags. With the state cracking down, Escribano says crooks are now going back to counterfeiting and altering paper plates. Statewide, he's seeing an increase in 30-day permits, which he says are used for everything from human smuggling to avoiding vehicle inspections and registration. He says 6-day permits are also now being altered.
If you have Adobe Pro and you have a 6-year-old kid that knows how to use a computer, they can change a tag and it's going to look legitimate.
The problem so prevalent, he's now handing out these flyers in Austin, warning drivers not to buy illegal tags on Facebook or use them at all.
Officers will not enforce what they don't know. And they're just not teaching this.
Matt Grant, State of Texas.
The Texas DMV is now cracking down on how 30-day permits are issued. Escribano has held 26 classes so far this year, and he plans to do 2 a month, educating officers all over the state. You can catch up on our complete coverage. Just look for the Risky Rides link with this story in the Texas Politics section of our website.
These chips are in everything from your iPhone to our most advanced weapon systems, and we cannot afford for those to be compromised.
The congressional push to start making computer chips in America, why it goes beyond the current shortage with urgency to protect national security.